begin the hour in Afghanistan, where 7 people have reportedly been killed amid chaos at the Kabul airport. Britain's Ministry of Defence says conditions on the ground remain extremely challenging. The UK continues its evacuation efforts from the airport as the US deadline for troop withdrawal nears. Nearly 4,000 people have been flown out by the UK so far, with a little over 1,000 making it to England. UK Defence Minister Ben Wallace says no one wanted 20 years of sacrifice to end this way. The Taliban co-founder Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar is in Kabul holding talks with politicians. Let's cross over to Kabul, where we have Zimarialai Abbasin, a journalist based in Afghanistan. Zimarialai, let's begin with the situation at the airport. How are things there now?
Hello, the situation in Kabul airport is far worse than it's being reported via different channels. Nobody knows how much casualties have occurred till this moment, but as I've been talking with several of those people who've been to the airport and they didn't find the way because of the fears and the shooting inside the Kabul airport by the US forces residing now in Kabul airport. One of those people who flee inside of the Kabul airport was just talking this afternoon with me. He told me that a guy got shot at head, and that's what made me frightened, and I escaped the area, and the situation is far worse than it's being reported. There is crash, there is crowd, there is shooting on those evacuees, and those people frightened with fears that what may happen to their future, and their families are still trying to flee the country. Most of the foreign mission and embassies in Kabul have no proper plan, particularly the US, and that's why they are criticized by different entities that why have been they doing this if all these things were happening. Why they didn't have a plan to evacuate all those people from Kabul airport. There are different kind of tactics to avoid people rush to the airport by US forces. For example, they are using tear gas, plastic bullets, and every kind of thing that they avoid, even direct shooting and air shootings in the air. So all options are available because there are fears, as we see. US Embassy has already alarmed its citizens to not travel till the second command. And because a potential ISIL or Daesh attack is on the way, and that's why it seems like US forces inside Kabul airport are afraid, and fury and fear together makes the situation far worse and unimaginable, because when you see those videos and footage, that's totally disturbing and heart-wrenching.
Now, we know the Taliban co-founder Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar has been holding talks with politicians in Kabul. How much do we know so far about these talks?
These talks and meetings have been continued, and at the same time, Hamid Karzai, Dr. Abdullah, they are all in Kabul now and talking with the Taliban from their different sides, from the Haqqani network, from the political office of the Taliban in Doha, and from other commanders and prominent leader of Taliban. The meetings continue, and as much as I get information from these meetings, they are discussing formation of a new government to control things. People are afraid, and their economy is already broken, and the situation is getting worse as every day passes. Because if the banks are closed, if the mall and exchange market is closed, if the borders has no security, if there is no interaction between Afghanistan, the region, and the world, obviously Afghanistan will be collapsed in economic era. So these are all the concerns that being discussed in these negotiation and talks and meetings that being continued in different parts of Kabul, particularly presidential palace, house of former President Hamid Karzai, and at the same time home of Dr. Abdullah or his office. But I get reports that they cannot move anywhere where, and they have to talk with the Taliban, but we get information from their media offices that the talk has been very progressive and affirmative.
All right, Zmarilai Abbasin, live in Kabul. Thank you for joining us.